Welcome back, Rankers. What's happened this week? We've got a new Prime Minister, our first woman Prime Minister too. But first, let's get to a viewer's site. Sybil Norris, who runs the site Snow Leopard blog. And no, it's got nothing to do with Apple OS X, all you nerds. It has to do with actual snow leopards. Look, real ones. They exist as an animal and everything. They're not just a copyright owned by Apple. And look, this is an excellent blog, Sybil. Lots of information here, obviously kept up to date, and lots of great photographs and everything else. What I do first of all in these situations, great page title by the way, is go and have a look at SEO for Firefox, to switch on my SEO X-ray, just to have a look and see where your heading tags are on the page. And you can see here you've got H3s and H2s, and you've got a sort of a combination of those. And that can be a bit confusing to Google, not knowing, you know, what's more important. You know, these two articles are side by side, but it's a H3 and then it's a H2 and then a H2 above a H3. I would settle on H2s probably for those headings. And one of the things with the WordPress blog is that it's designed so that the front page changes all the time. Your latest blog post can go up there. You can change that and either have a static piece of content up there or have one piece of content that you want to display all the time. I would recommend putting some sort of static content on the front page of your WordPress blog that has your keywords in it, that Google can come and find whenever it's there, rather than if it only comes in, say, once a day or once a week even. It's going to get something different each time it hits that front page. But if you have a static piece of content on there, you may even want to do a widget, you know, do maybe 150 words in a widget up here explaining to people what the blog is about and using your keywords in there, just so Google's got something static to come back to that tells it all about your site rather than an article here and an article there. The other thing that I can see here is that you can make more use out of your keywords with some of the categories you're using here. You've got all the categories listed here, and that's great. Links deeper into the site is always a good thing. But I would actually go one further and make these categories more specific to snow leopards. So Afghanistan snow leopards, Bhutan snow leopards. That then tells the user that this blog will, if I click on that link, it's going to tell me more about Afghan snow leopards rather than Sybil's trip to Afghanistan. When people hit the site, they've got to know immediately what these links are about. And, you know, it could be a travel blog if I've just come in off Google and seen that, and you just happen to be talking about snow leopards. Even though it says snow leopard blog, I may not have looked at that URL when I clicked on the link in Google. And it also, of course, gives Google a better idea of what these sections of the site are about if you use your keyword snow leopards in there. They're the main things that I'm seeing. Had a quick look at the index, and a similar thing here. In a lot of the page titles throughout the site, we've got About Me. Why don't I call that About Me and my Snow Leopard campaign? We've got videos. What about videos about snow leopards? We've got for kids, snow leopard projects for kids, ecotourism snow leopards. There's a lot of ways that you can work your key phrases into the page titles that you currently have. And once again, you see here China, it's just sort of all out there alone by itself, which is kind of reflective of life, really. But yeah, there are a few things you can fix and just get your keywords into those page titles. Okay, now we have a quick look at the federal election coming up, because it's meant to be announced this Friday, meant to be going to the polls probably in about 6 weeks' time. In 2007, I did a show and had a look at the keyword searches in Google Insights and also in YouTube. What we found with YouTube was that John Howard videos were all pretty much negative, and who was the then Prime Minister, and Kevin Rudd's videos were all pretty much positive, bar the one where he's eating his own earwax. Sorry if you're eating. But so was he, and it's on YouTube, so you can go and have a look if you're that way inclined. However, this time round, and that was to be expected, of course, not eating his own earwax, but the fact that his videos were all positive. He hadn't been in power, John Howard had, so more time for people to put videos up about John Howard. And very similar here, the videos for Julia Gillard, you know, they're either funny videos, you know, doing, you know, outtakes from comedy shows, that sort of thing, or their interviews or their speeches. we've actually, I hadn't seen this before, but we're seeing more politically, well, the usernames look more political than what they did in 2007, that's for sure, with Practical Politics, Australian Labor. The people are actually focused on this now. Of course, she has been Prime Minister for less than a week, I think, so that's to be expected, that there's nothing up there about her yet in relating to her current role. When we go Tony Abbott, of course, he's been opposition leader a lot longer, and most of the videos about Tony Abbott are actually negative, satirical ones, attack ones, those sorts of things. And so we're going to watch that over the next 6 weeks. Probably won't tell us anything at all, but what happened last time is that the guy who had the most negative videos, he lost, and that's also what happened with Barack Obama as well. And of course, that can just be a reflection of people using YouTube to express what is, or reflect what's out there in the electorate. However, when we go and have a look at Google Insights for search, we can see that searches for Julia Gillard peaked this week, as you would expect. Kevin Rudd is the B one there. Although I don't think this news article that coincides with this Kevin Rudd peak is necessarily responsible for that spike in searches, because it does actually come from Al Jazeera. It's just the only article that Google could find in their news search that matched that particular search spike. And of course, no one here cares about Tony Abbott because he really wasn't the story last week. But we'll keep an eye on that over the next 6 weeks and see how it develops over 6 weeks, because as soon as the federal election is announced, I want to start to see the sorts of things that people are concerned about using Google Insights for search. What's going to be really interesting about this federal election as opposed to any other one, though, apart from the fact that we've got a woman running for the highest office in the land, is that unlike any federal election before, we now have a myriad of location-based devices over there using things like location-based apps like Foursquare, like all the Twitter apps out there that have location-based searches. So I'll be very interested to see how that plays into the way maybe the political parties are campaigning, if they want to get into those marginal seats and they want to connect with a certain demographic that might be using these technologies. I want to know if anybody's going to try. I certainly expect the open internet, no clean feed crowd to start trying some of these things, mainly because I'm going to urge the hell out of them to do it. But it's going to be a very interesting experiment in how these technologies now play into our lives, and whether people actually in marginal seats and those sorts of things use them to connect on certain issues. And that is it for today's show. Hope to see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.